Hey, today's video is going to be a true guide for Faceit or matchmaking. I've broken it down into 7 main sections that cover all the essential elements you need to play solo on Faceit, whether you are 3k elo or just level 3. We're starting with the element called micro, but before we dive in, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell and drop a like on this video. Let's get started. Micro in CS community usually refers to your mechanics, basically your train skills. It's all about what you do with your mouse and keyboard. This includes your aim, spray control, precision, crosshair placement, and even your strafing accuracy and smoothness. Obviously, to boost your rating, you need to develop your micro, which means training with bots or playing deathmatch. There are thousands of videos on YouTube, some useful and some not so much, about training routines. But the most important aspect of training are time and consistency. So let's start with the time. Training sessions that go over 3 hours are hard to call productive. After that point, you'll just get too tired and fill your head with unnecessary thoughts. Ideally, your practice should last between 1 to 2 hours, depending on you. I would say that the sweet spot is usually around 1.5 hours. Take for instance the aimbots map. You can work on several skills there at once. First up is movement, specifically strafes and counter strafes. The aimbots map is perfect for this. You need to stay constantly on the move. If you just stand still and shoot bots, at best you'll only get a feel for your mouse and its sensitivity. For truly effective training, you need to stay mobile. That way you'll be training both your movement and your mouse control. Just think, how often do you actually stand still in a match when taking fights? As for the deathmatch, I'd say it's best and most versatile training method, and I would recommend dedicating most of your time to it. DM sharpens every skill you need. Movement, crosshair placement, peeks, strafes, counter strafes, taps, sprays, burst, basically everything you use in your matches. You can follow my advice and spend most of your training time on deathmatch, or you can customize your routine by adding in pre-fire maps, B-hop, surf or keezy, depending on what your weak spots are. The key to training your mechanical skills is consistency. And keep in mind, you won't start shooting like Monesi or Simple in his prime after just a week. Understanding the game doesn't come overnight. You have to keep playing, working on it, and training consistently. If we draw an analogy to the gym, you don't really expect to see results 2 or 3 times better than when you started after just 1 month. You need to understand that progress is gradual. Don't set unrealistic expectations for yourself. Huge goals in a short time will almost certainly lead to failure and a dip in your morale, making you think that your training isn't effective, and you might even stop practicing altogether. Without improving your individual skills, your rank will stagnate or even drop. Remember, practicing for 5 hours a day is pointless and won't yield results. Train up to 2 hours a day. Take care of yourself, your health, and your time. In any online game, you're not playing solo against NPCs. As your rank goes up, so does the skill level of your opponent. The most important rule for improving your skill is developing your micro. Next up is one of the most fundamental aspects of the game, understanding it, or as it's called in the community, macro. Simply put, macro is all in your round decisions. How you think, move, read opponents, coordinate with teammates, and make calls and rotations. All of that falls under macro. In other words, micro is what your mouse handles, while macro is what your brain handles. Talking about game sense and macro understanding could go on forever, but I've highlighted the key elements of macro in CS that you should focus on. The first is watching demos. There's nothing better for improving yourself and your skills than reviewing demos. It's crucial to learn new things, analyze your mistakes, and get better at your positions. Demos are a treasure trove of valuable knowledge, from learning new grenade lineups to understanding the macro decisions of your favorite player. The second element is playing one position. It's super important, especially in the beginning, to find one position as city on each map and build as much experience on it as possible, because experience is a crucial part of the game. You need to understand how to act in specific situation, what your response should be to the opponent's action, which grenade to throw, or when to use a trick play. These elements are essential, and this understanding only comes with experience. After you made your mistakes and learn from them, you can develop an optimal playstyle that lets you make the best decisions and bring value to your team. Essentially, you're creating your own scripts for every possible action the opponents might take. We will take Mirage as an example. On pistol rounds, if you're playing window, you have several ways the round could play out. You can hold an anti-headshot angle and stay there until around 130. If you don't spot anyone by then, it's time to move. At this point, you have a few options. First option is to drop into underpass and check if the opponents are setting up a mid split through connector. If it's clear, you can move up to the top mid and see if there is an enemy trying to flank your team's rotation. From there, based on the info you gather, you can decide to help on short to support teammates on B or push into connector to assist an A site. As you can see, there are plenty of options for how a round could play out, but any of these choices is better than just standing in window waiting for enemies to push or for someone to call out a site hit. By actively gathering information and relaying it to your teammates, your whole team can make better, more informed decisions. The third element is playing according to your spawn. It's important to understand that your spawn plays a huge role at the start of a round. Every round should start with a plan that builds on your analysis of previous rounds. Depending on your spawn, you can choose to play more aggressively during early timings or play more passively by holding deeper positions and coordinating with your team. Your initial strategy for the round should take into account each player's spawn. One of the biggest mistakes players make in CS2 is managing their economy. Poor money management is often the reason for losing comebacks or matches that should have been won at any skill level. Even at 2400 elo, playing in 3k elo lobbies, I still see players making unwise buys. I covered the topic of economy in more detail in a previous video, which you can check out via the card in the top right corner of the screen. Here, I'll just say that you need to plan your spending a few rounds ahead, considering your position and role on the map. Next up is an equally important aspect, that's a communication. Unfortunately, in CS, it's rare to find players who know how to communicate effectively. Most either stay silent, are toxic, or give low-quality info. You need to remember a few basic rules. If you are in the game to win, don't be shy about speaking up. I've met plenty of people, and to be honest, I've been one of them, who were self-conscious about their voice or afraid of negative reactions to what they said. Don't let that hold you back. Remember, there's always a mute button available. Even if you have toxic teammate, you can still communicate with those who are focused on winning. It's also important to talk through your actions, like which grenade you're throwing and what teammates can do with it. And of course, provide the most precise information possible. This way, when your teammates react to your callouts, they don't have to waste time figuring out where their opponent is or which position you meant. Grenades are also one of the most crucial parts of the game that can help you win more matches. Start by learning the essential grenades for the maps you play most often. Step by step, expand to more advanced and situational grenades that you can use in a non-standard situation to add variety to your gameplay. And the last element, often overlooked, is retake and bomb defense. While previous tips focused more on the start or middle of the round, this one helps you close out rounds effectively. Half of the rounds, if not most, come down to a planted bomb situation where one team needs to defuse, another must defend it. There is a lot of content on round strategies and ideas, but very little attention is given to what happens when the initial plan is executed and needs to be wrapped up. The main task for both sides is gaining control of space. If you're playing as a T side, after planting the bomb, you need to take positions that can counter the defender's rotation. For example, on Mirage, if you're secured B side, taking control of kitchen is a good move, as that's a common retake path. You don't even need to fight to the last. Playing for time and delaying the cities from clearing your teammate's position is key. For cities, the goal is to work in sync with your teammates. Your actions should be coordinated so that enemies can isolate you into one-on-one duels. The more you can split the terrorist attention, the better your chances of retaking the site and defusing the bomb. This summary wraps up the crucial elements for improving your gameplay in CS. If you apply these elements, micro-training, macro understanding, consistent positioning, spawn-based strategies, communication, mastering grenades, and end-round tactics like retake and bomb defense, you'll have a comprehensive plan to enhance your skills. Remember, progress takes time, and focusing on the puzzle pieces collectively will help you break through any skill plateau and improve your rating. I hope this breakdown has been insightful. If you found value in these tips, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video to show your support. That's it for today. See you in the next one. Bye bye!